Hi, my name is Tom Blotzek and this is my acid rain presentation. First of all, I want to introduce myself. I'm Tom Blotzek. I'm a German student and I'm here at Middle University since January 2025. Um, I wanted to start with a fun fact, especially if you look at this picture. I'm going to give you 5 seconds to see what kind of seems odd about my face or what kind of seems off. Okay, I'm gonna give it to you. My eyes are not on the same height. I don't know if you've seen that, but I feel like my left eye, or I don't feel like it. It is my left eye is 1 to 2 centimeters above my right eye, and I don't know why it is like that. Probably my parents messed up, or I don't know what happened. But I think it's pretty funny to me, especially yeah, because it's so off. Like it's so obvious if you look at a picture, but I feel like in real life you don't really see it. Okay, first I'm going to talk about the definition of acid rain. Acid rain is rain that becomes acidic due to contact with air pollution. It forms when clean rain comes into contact with pollutants, which could be sulfur dioxide, nitrogen oxides, or carbon dioxide. And these pollutants mix and react with water, oxygen, and other chemicals to then form acidic compounds in our atmosphere. Okay, next up we have the environmental effects. First of all, it can cause vital minerals like calcium in the soil and leaves to dissolve and leading to nutrient deficiency, which then leads to trees growing slower and are more easily attackable by cold, insects, or diseases. Second of all, it releases aluminum from the soil, which can then flow into lakes or streams and also gets in contact with fish, which is bad for the fish because it is toxic for fish. And the last one is that it can hinder plants to produce food through photosynthesis. Um, yeah, next up, going to our next slide. For the next one, we have other harmful effects. The first one is that it can damage human health. Breathing the pollutants can damage, especially your respiratory system, especially respiratory illness and asthma and bronchitis can be caused from this. Furthermore, visibility could be a factor that could be a problem. Pollutants from small particles in the atmosphere can scatter light, which creates haze and reducing visibility of general visibility, which often can be seen in national parks. And third of all, we have that some chemicals released by burning fossil fuels are also greenhouse gases, for example, like CO2, which can then lead to climate change and general heating of planet Earth, which can ultimately lead to a very bad future for us humans. And next next up, the next slide. Next up, we got the sources, which means those are the two most associated pollutants with the formation of acid rain. First of all, we got sulfur dioxide. Sulfur dioxide is primarily released when fossil fuels are burned, for example, oil and also coal, um, and they generate then electricity. And second of all, we got nitrogen oxides, are mainly released by burning fossil fuels. For example, like gasoline to power cars, buses, or airplanes. And those are the two main pollutants who are associated with the formation of acid rain. Okay, next up we have the question, where is it in the US? And you see, according to this map, it's mostly in the eastern region, not at all in the western region. Also in the Midwest, there's only a couple of states that do have acid rain, but it's very strong in the eastern northeastern region of the United States, where New York is, or the Adirondack Mountains. And this is mostly to the buffering capacity of the soil. The soil in the northeast is less has less buffer capacity than the soil in the Midwest, for example, like in Nebraska. And the buffer capacity is basically the adaptability to change. The higher the buffer capacity, the higher is the resistance to change, and because of that, it is very uncommon that in Nebraska it's going to be acid rain, because the soil in Nebraska is less able to resist changes in pH. Is more able to resist change in pH, and in the north east there's less able to resist changes in pH, which means there's going to be more acid rain. Next up, we have the phenomenon of Vermont and New Hampshire. This is basically very simple. Even though New Hampshire has low local emissions, it also experienced a high acid rain experience, and yeah, this is mainly because of wind. Air pollutants can travel a great distance, like very long ways, and they're basically are coming to Vermont and New Hampshire because of the wind, and then it's gonna be acid rain in Vermont and New Hampshire. Okay, next up we got the question how to reduce acid rain. And first of all, we gotta reduce emissions at their source. This means that, for example, we gotta regulate power plants, which basically means that we have to reduce SO2 and NOx emissions from power plants. Furthermore, we have to use cleaner energy, which means that we're shifting away from fossil fuels to energy resources like sun and wind, which can be seen, but we got to do it even more to reduce acid rain. And third of all is technology, which basically means that we have to develop and implement newer technology which can reduce the amount of pollution that enters like our atmosphere, our environment. Yeah, and I think this comic right here describes it very well. On the left side we see the acid rain, the areas who are threatened by it, and on the other side we see a man with the brain is marked, and areas that are unaffected by acid rain. And I think if we use our brains, we can fight against the acid rain. We can minimize it and reduce it, and if we really want to, we can definitely. Lastly, we got ways to reduce the impact that we can do ourselves. We can conserve energy, which basically means that we are, if you're not at home, we unplugging specific things. For example, your TV, your computer, something that doesn't have to run while you aren't at home. Furthermore, we can educate others about the cause and effect of acid rain. So I think a lot of people, including me before I held this presentation, didn't know about the effect and maybe the cause of acid rain. And I think if we educate more people, they will understand, and they might change something about their behavior, especially those people who live in these areas, for example, Vermont, New Hampshire, or in the Northeast. They will change, and I think this can only be reached by education, with education. And on the other side, we can support research. What I mean by that is support research about acid rain, how we can fight it, and just that more money gets spent into the research of acid rain, because it's a very important topic for the environmental safety. And that was my presentation. I hope you liked it, and